Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com. In this video, you are going to see the exact results from my year and a half of aggressive content marketing. This marks the 18th month of kind of this little project or this little experiment that I did. I started with a 120-day challenge, 120 videos in 120 days, with the sole purpose of just getting everything out of my head that I know about internet marketing out on the page, out into the world. I chose YouTube of my kind of initiation point, and after that, I found a rhythm at 3 videos per month, and I've been doing 3 videos per month for over a year now at this point in time. And today literally marks the 18th month, or the year and a half anniversary, I guess it would be. So we're going to look at my analytics of my blog. We're going to look inside the analytics of YouTube and also of the podcast. Now, this is what I call the 3-pillar content marketing strategy. It's about getting your content out in voice, which is the podcast, in video, which is YouTube, and in the written word, which is your WordPress blog. It took me over a year to get all 3 of those things firing. And if you're just starting out and you're just getting going, or you're interested in content marketing and you're like, seems like that's a long way off. Remember, I started with 0 views, 0 subscribers, 0 videos just a little while ago. And my goal, the biggest takeaway I hope that you take from here is that amazing things happen when you stay consistent, when you stick with one niche, one platform, one focus, and you go deep on one idea for an extended period of time. That's where compounding of your efforts happen. That's where you get that slight little edge right there. And that's what we're all about in this space. So let's jump onto the screen, and I'm going to show you some actual data from inside of my tools and inside of the places that we go. So it's already loaded here to the podcast. So we'll start here this month, and you'll see that in this part in February, we're at about 2,600 downloads up to this date in February. We're about 2/3 of the way through February, so I'm assuming I'll end up somewhere around the 3,500 mark for the month. I might email it once or twice to try to boost those numbers, but all in all, the big kind of more important thing I'm looking at is, January was greater than December was, and total all time since launching this around November of last year, I've got over 21,000 downloads. Now, this is the exact same content that's on my YouTube channel. I've eliminated the videos where I'm doing screen shares. So for example, this video won't go to my podcast, but all the ones that are just me talking and sharing an idea with you, all of those make it over to the podcast. And the theory behind this is that there's humans, and you probably are like, really? There's people who don't love YouTube, but there's humans out there who don't do the YouTube thing, and they are so addicted, or they're just so into podcasts, that I wanted to make sure and take time to make my content readily available for them where they already are. So my content now shows up whether you're searching in the iTunes podcast directory, or you're using some other podcast app. My content will show up for a variety of keywords that are relevant based on the titles of my videos, which are now podcasts over there, etc. So real quick, if you haven't yet downloaded my podcast, please go connect to it. Open up, whether you're on an iPhone, just go to the podcast app, or if you're using Android, I use Podbean, and search for Miles Beckler. I'm the only Miles Beckler on there. And when you find me, go ahead and subscribe, download, and leave me a review if you wouldn't mind. It helps me keep those numbers going up. And remember, you're able to turn your commute time, the time you spend washing dishes, if you walk your dog, if you're vacuuming the house, whatever you're doing, if you pop in those earbuds to your headphone, right? Pop in those headphones, you're able to turn that time into productive time. YouTube consumes all of your time and energy. It's difficult to do something else while watching a YouTube video, but podcasting allows you to do a variety of other things, mowing the lawn, etc., while listening to the podcast. So it's a kind of a life hack there for you if you're not yet taking advantage of that. Let's go backwards we're going into my analytics for my blog. Now, I have a team in place that is transcribing and copy editing my blog posts. Transcribing and copying editing my videos into blog posts, and we've been working to get that ramped up. I'm going to switch it out to the 30-day mark, because pretty much all the numbers on the other platforms look at 30 days, and we'll start with a 30-day association. So you can see 18,758 sessions from just over 11,000 users, right? This is pretty fantastic. Just over a year ago, let's do a year over year because I know for a fact just over a year ago, I was still struggling to get my content onto my blog. And you can see that orange line is last year and the blue line is this year. And I'm up almost 300% increase. So from getting under 5,000 visits per month to getting now over 18,700 visits per month, literally going from about 2,500 individuals seeing my website every month to over 11,000 individuals seeing my content every month. This is absolutely fantastic for me. Really, I believe that on your WordPress blog, the traffic that visits your WordPress blog is some of the most valuable traffic for you. I'm just not a writer natively. Like, it's not something I enjoy. It's not something I find easy. So I had to leverage what was easier for me, which is making these videos for you, and then put systems and people in place to make sure I get it onto my blog. The reason I think that WordPress blog traffic is some of the best traffic is, number one, a lot of these individuals are searching Google for answers to their questions. And when my content shows up, there's kind of a little leverage credibility there, right? These people think, okay, well, Google thinks it's milesbeckler.com. It obviously has the answer to what is a ClickFunnels alternative. They're going to click, they're going to view, and there's this kind of leveraged credibility that happens there. Number two, I'm in control of the environment on WordPress. I have a pop-up that offers access to my free course. I've got internal links that links them to other content. And since I own that race course, and since I control that user experience, I actually get more leads from traffic that visits my blog than I do from any other platform out there. And I think you will see that in your business as you move forward. Also, we have definitely seen that in my wife's business, which we've been running for 9 years now. So I really think that the WordPress blog is the ultimate goal, but for me, my personality, I don't love writing. I'm not necessarily a blogger. So creating the videos was what was fun and easy, so I can make sure that gets done week in, week out, week in, week out, and then I put systems in place to get it to my blog. These results are really exciting to me, and I'm excited to see what happens as I continue this pace and as I continue to get more content onto my blog, because there's millions and millions of potential search phrases out there that I should be and could be ranking for. So it's just a matter of time, processes, and really staying consistent over long periods of time to get all of my content onto my blog in written form. Google's going to keep indexing it. My domain authority is going to keep rising, which means more and more visibility in the search engines, more clicks, more leads, etc., etc. Finally, let's go over to the YouTube dashboard. You can see at this point, I've got 1.8 million views. That's actually kind of cool. That actually, for having 18 months, that's a pretty close correlation there. And I've got 45,706 subscribers as of this moment. And you can see down here at the bottom right there, it says view all 325. I've recorded 325 videos in, again, a year and a half. But let's jump in and go into the analytics and get a little bit deeper on what's going on with the numbers here, because although my goal isn't the growth, right? I'm not doing this just to see the audience growth. It is fun, and so I am doing this in part for audience growth. The real reason I started the 90-day challenge was because I felt like I need to teach this stuff that I know and what my wife and I do. So when I began this path, it wasn't to grow an audience. It was just to get this stuff out of my head. I'm always engaged. I've been doing internet marketing since 2000. I've been making money with internet marketing since 2003, built my first websites in the late 1990s. So I'm bringing like 20 years or so experience to this world. And I felt that so many people were teaching it and trying to gate it and trying to charge for such basic information, or even worse, they charge for misinformation, which happens more than I'd like to admit in this industry. So I was like, man, I just got to share what actually works now. So it was that kind of place of I just had to share what I do and what I know in the world. Now I do enjoy kind of looking at the graphs and seeing, is my audience growing? Is it waxing? Is it waning? Is it going up? Is it going down? Because even when you're consistent over time, you're going to see your numbers are going to go up, your numbers are going to go down, they're going to go back up, they're going to go back down. Some of it is seasonality, some of it is algorithm changes. If you ignore all the noise and stay focused on putting out optimized for search engine content, and you do your keyword research time in and time out, and you just stick with that plan for a long enough period of time, you will generate massive amounts of traffic. So in some regards, don't pay attention to the numbers too much. It's not about these numbers, but it is a good kind of feedback measurement. It's kind of a finger on the pulse of how things are going. The first thing I notice right here, even though it says that my month over month watch time is down about 3%, this trend line is up. The lows are getting higher and the highs are getting higher. Not by a lot, but a little bit. I can see that I'm trending in the upward direction. You can see the average view duration. It says that it is also down, but it's 1.64%. And to me, it looks like that line is trending up a little bit, which I'm excited about. My number of views is down about 2% here. That looks pretty even on that trend line. What I'm really interested in doing here is running comparisons, because to me, I think the comparisons are really where we get the kind of the broader comparisons is where we get a little bit better data, right? We got to zoom out to get the big picture of what's going on. So here you can see I just did 90 days over 90 days, right? So it's a quarter over a quarter. And I'm looking at the last 90 days is blue and the 90 days below that is orange. So you can see there's a difference here of 400,000 watch time minutes, essentially, just a couple of seconds in average view duration. So that's pretty much even for my take here. And it looks like the views have gone down a little bit. So I'm kind of up and down a little bit here and there. I'm not too concerned about these trends. I'm just getting a gauge of what's going on. If you're interested, you are able to really go back and look at what content have I been putting on in the different time frames, right? Like what content actually worked really well and what content didn't. Because if you go through different series and you're noticing that your traffic numbers are dropping, that is YouTube's algorithm's way of helping you understand what's working and what's not working. I just wanted to zoom out. You can see I've had this Gmail account. I was a beta user of Gmail back in the day. So you can see that over the full duration, I've got over 12 million minutes viewed, and you can see that it just absolutely climbs as a spike up. I want to get a little bit closer view of this. So give me one moment. I'm going to set a better lifetime view so we can get a little bit better picture of that. All right, so now you can see this is the full scale from when I started publishing videos. Again, you saw that line was at 0 before. I started with 0 videos, 0 views, 0 subscribers, and I just decided after a personal development seminar to challenge myself doing something that was out of my comfort zone that I felt I needed to do in this world to help make the world a little bit better place. And for me, that was putting out a video a day for 90 days, and then I decided to stick with it. So in this is an 18-month chart here. And you'll notice it kind of went up and it's down and it's going back up a little bit. And that's what I'm saying is there's some seasonality in here. There's just algorithm changes. There's just things that happen that you're never going to see a straight up line. But what I'm really interested in showing you is if you break this down, if you cut this in half, right about where my mouse is there, that's half. Right? So that means that's 9 months of aggressive marketing. And I'm just now, after 9 months, if you look on this scale, it took almost 9 months for me to hit this peak channel that I've been in for a very long time. Now, I met at a DMSS, which is a digital marketing Skillshare event I spoke at in Bali. I met a guy who is he's an absolute gangster with YouTube marketing. He does YouTube consulting. He helps brands, like really big brands, to get millions and millions and millions of views on their videos. And we were talking and he was like, okay, so do you do everything in the marketing space? I said, yep. He was like, so what do you get, about 1,000, 1,500 views per video? That's it? I was like, yeah, that's about it. He was like, that is actually a viral video in the marketing world. So he helped me understand that my types of videos simply don't get the large volumes of views that lifestyle videos get, that some of these blogs get, that celebrity stalking videos get, etc. And that's one thing to keep in mind, right? Like my numbers are unique to me. Your numbers are going to be unique to you. When we look at my wife's channel, her numbers are very different. The view time is very different. The number of views is very different. So it does move around per audience. But the trick that I really want you to understand is that 9 months in is when I really caught my stride. And I was putting in a video a day, every day here for months and months on end. This is at least 4 months in of putting in a video every day, every single day, video. It was a very large undertaking. And I still, at that point of doing it every day for 4 months, I barely had the momentum that I see on my lowest day today in this kind of area I'm at, right? So this point here, this highest peak that I had ever hit at this point in time is about as high as the lowest point that I ever hit, which was probably right around Christmas when everyone's with their family and not watching YouTube videos. The perspective here really proves that the bulk of your views, the bulk of your viewership, the bulk of your likes, the bulk of your subscribers are all going to come after you've put in months upon months, if not years upon years of effort towards your content marketing results. And that's really the big point here. That's really what I wanted to help you understand. You can create a very successful business online. You can grow an audience online. You can, I've seen it in so many niches. Many of the sub niches, those little crossovers, the vegan dog food example, right? That's where there's less competition and there's more potential for you to quickly capture a large market share. If you're going into a big saturated niche like internet marketing or make money online or fitness, know that there's a lot of competition in the space and it's going to take even more energy. There's room for you at the top. You can work your way up to that point. It's just potentially going to take a little more energy to get that momentum on your side because there's some established players. And the real big trick, if you're able to figure out how to go into a really, really interesting sub niche. So let's say you're doing the make money online, but you decide to focus on baby boomers and you tailor everything for baby boomers, or you're doing the fitness, right? And you decide you're going to do fitness for race car drivers and you blend those two overlaps for people trying to get those two things going at the same time. That's where you can really niche yourself out and really gain market share because you have created potentially a new niche, or at least you're going into a much less competitive niche and you're able to dominate that much more quickly. I hope this video has been helpful for you. I hope it's a good perspective for you to understand that the real value in audience growth, the real value in growing a channel or a WordPress blog or a podcast really shows up in the later months or years of doing it all for long periods of time. So many people start something, they'll do it for 3 months, 6 months, they'll look at the results, be like, this isn't working. And at that moment, that's a correct statement. But if they were to keep with it for a couple more years, they would surprise themselves as to what they create. So if you're along that path somewhere, know that it not only gets easier, I put in less time on my platform today than I did when I was first getting started. I produce less videos now than I did when I was first getting started, but my results are magnitudes greater now than they were when I first got started with this. You got to persevere through the challenges to get to the promised land. That's just the only way it works. I've seen it so many times over. Again, I hope this has been helpful. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, click the subscribe button. If you have, click the bell and you'll get notified when new videos come out. And other than that, if you have any questions for me about this video, hit me in the comments. That's where we can kind of chat back and forth a little bit. If you have any questions about my approach or about what all this means, I'm happy to share as best I can. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next video. So until then, be well.